Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Gather round, history buffs and adventure lovers. Have you ever heard a story so legendary it feels like it might just be true? Today, we read diving deep into the heart of Sherwood Forest to uncover one of the most thrilling tales of England's greatest outlaw, Robin Hood. But this isn't just any story. This is the story of a trap, a test of skill, and a prize that was more than just gold. This is the story of Robin Hood and the Golden Arrows. So let's travel back in time to an era of cruel sheriffs, dense forests, and a band of men who fought for the poor. Let's begin. The Sheriff of Nottingham was a man consumed by one single desire: to capture the elusive Robin Hood. He tried everything: ambushes, spies, patrols, but Robin and his merry men always seemed to be one step ahead, vanishing into the green canopy of Sherwood like ghosts. Frustrated and furious, the sheriff devised a cunning plan. He knew Robin's greatest weakness wasn't a sword or a lack of courage. It was his pride. Robin Hood was, without a doubt, the finest archer in all of England, and he knew it. So the sheriff announced a grand archery tournament to be held in Nottingham. The prize? No mere purse of gold, but something far more special: a single magnificent arrow, crafted from polished yew, fletched with peacock feathers and tipped with the purest, gleaming gold. News of the contest spread like wildfire. From every corner of the land, archers packed their bows, eager to test their mettle. In Sherwood Forest, the news reached Robin Hood's camp. His men were instantly wary. Little John, his most trusted friend, spoke for everyone. "It's a trap, Robin. The sheriff wants nothing more than to see you in his dungeons. He knows you can't resist a challenge like this." Robin listened, a thoughtful smile playing on his lips. He knew his men were right. It was obviously a trap. The sheriff would have his best guards surrounding the field, watching for any sign of the famous outlaw in his Lincoln Green. Walking into Nottingham would be like walking into a lion's den. But the thought of that golden arrow, the ultimate symbol of archery mastery, was a powerful lure. More than that, the idea of outsmarting the sheriff on his own turf, right under his nose, was an opportunity too delicious to pass up. "You are right, Little John," Robin declared. "It is a trap. And that is precisely why we must go." He then laid out his own clever plan. He and his best men would go to the tournament, but not as the merry men of Sherwood. They would go in disguise. On the day of the tournament, the field was a sea of color and excitement. The sheriff sat proudly in his grandstand, his eyes scanning the crowd, searching for any sign of his famous foe. Archers in all manner of dress stepped up to the line, but none could match the skill needed to win. The targets were set at an incredible distance. One by one, the competitors failed. Finally, a tall, one-eyed beggar in ragged clothes stepped forward, followed by a burly friar and a minstrel with a patch over his eye. The crowd chuckled. But when the beggar drew his bow, a hush fell over the field. Thwong! His arrow flew straight and true, striking the very center of the target. The crowd roared. The sheriff leaned forward, intrigued. Another archer, a man in a tattered scarlet tunic, matched the shot. The contest came down to these two mysterious strangers. For the final shot, a slender willow wand was placed at an impossible distance. The man in scarlet shot first, his arrow splitting the wand clean in two. The crowd gasped. It was an impossible shot. Surely no one could beat it. Then the one-eyed beggar stepped up, took a calm breath, and released his arrow. It soared through the air and, in a feat of unbelievable skill, split his rival's arrow as it sat lodged in the wand. The crowd erupted. The sheriff, though stunned, had to award the golden arrow to the beggar. As he presented the prize, he looked the man in the eye and said, "You are the greatest archer I have ever seen. You must join my service." The beggar simply bowed and said, "I serve a different master." Before the sheriff could react, a horn blast echoed across the field. Suddenly, the beggar, the minstrel, and 100 other men threw off their disguises, revealing the Lincoln Green of Robin Hood's merry men. With a final taunting wave of the golden arrow, Robin and his band melted back into the crowd and escaped to the safety of Sherwood Forest, leaving the sheriff of Nottingham fuming in their wake, once again outsmarted by the legendary outlaw. So, what can we learn from this incredible story? It's more than just a tale of adventure. The story of the Golden Arrow teaches us about the nature of pride and confidence. The sheriff used Robin's pride to set a trap, but Robin's confidence in his and his men's abilities allowed him to turn that trap against his enemy. It shows that our greatest strengths can sometimes be used against us, but with clever thinking and self-awareness, we can transform a potential weakness into a decisive victory. It's a timeless lesson. Know yourself, trust your team, and never be afraid to face a challenge, even when it looks like a trap. Thanks for joining me on this journey back in time. If you loved this slice of history and legend, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more tales of heroes and villains. See you next time.